for being here.
My pleasure, and thank you very much for coming to the EU diplomatic mission to Indonesia, also to the ASEAN.
So on July 13, 2025, the negotiations on IEU-CEPA have reached a milestone, and Indonesia has announced a political agreement. So what can you tell us about it?
Yes, formally the negotiations were concluded on the 23rd of September by Minister Erlangga and Commissioner Šefčovič. And I would say three things about this agreement. First of all, it has been a long time coming, yes. 9 years, and we really have to thank the chief negotiators on both sides for their patience, but also having been able to exploit the momentum and for being very thorough in their negotiations. The second element that I would mention is clearly this trade deal came up because I think that in a world that is very volatile and more complex, the EU appears as a reliable and predictable partner. Mm-hmm. Indonesia's stance in the world is also growing. So I think that it was a good meeting of minds and determination. And talking about determination, that is my third point, I would really like to underline the leadership of President Prabowo and of President-Komisioner von der Leyen in making sure that this, goes through the finish line.
All right. And regarding CEPA, what are the key remaining hurdles ahead of full entry into force?
So from now and for the possibly 6-7 next month, there's what we call the legal scrubbing. So the legal experts of each side go through the agreement as it has been negotiated by the chief negotiator. Then we will have the signing of the agreement. And once the agreement is signed, starts the procedure of ratification. So it will be in Indonesia ratified by the parliament. In the EU, it will be ratified by the member states and by the European Parliament, but not by each national parliament, just the European Parliament. Since the EU and Indonesia trade is complementary, what we produce and export is not produced here, and what Indonesia produces and export is not produced in Europe. We hope that by 27 we could have the start of the implementation of this. So for some measures, zero tariff will apply immediately. So that's very good for Indonesia because, for example, palm oil or other products that are large export will be 0% immediately. But it's also good for the EU in terms of market access.
Right. And one of the main concerns among Indonesian business people is regulatory compliance. Will the European Union offer support mechanism to assist Indonesian exporters in ensuring that their products comply with the EU standard?
There is, first of all, some technical assistance and capacity building that is taking place here in Indonesia. So there, both the member states and the EU are leading some actions. The overall amount of these actions is about 50 million euro, 50, of which 15 is financed by the EU. So that helps commodities growers, palm oil, coffee, to adopt EU standards. So that's very good. But there are other ways in the CEPA to implement what you've mentioned. So first of all, there's a consultation mechanism. So for any new environmental regulation, the Indonesian can ask for specific consultation within the framework of CEPA. Basically, investors benefit from the fact that now there's a long-term approach to exports of Indonesia to EU, and that the 0% tariff is an incentive for investments to take place here, so that the Indonesian manufacturers or growers can adopt EU standards and export more and get more value. Another element is that by doing so, Indonesian manufacturers can be integrated in global value chain. So the EU is the specialist of global value chain. And we hope that the incentive of 0% tariff will allow for Indonesian companies to integrate those global value chain.